go back into Roman times, right, just essentially to explain how irrelevant the Romans and the Greeks were. They were born such a long-ass time ago. First, I'm going to get high on some blackjack, okay? So some blackjack marijuana. Here we go. That's a crime in Kentucky. So, being that I'm in Colorado, I don't have to worry about none of this. Now, there's three different people that I want to talk about. I want to talk about Clovis I, who's the founder of France. I want to talk about Flavius Rufinus, who's a major minister who's going to get killed, and it's big news. A minister, so that should tell you, he was actually the emperor behind the throne. He was the emperor behind the throne under Theodosius I and under Arcadius I. So, who is Flavius Rufinus? Well, Flavius Rufinus is a high-powered minister that got killed by the Gothic mercenaries under Gaius. Gaius is a Gothic leader, but he was a man with no lineage himself. So he's a leader of the Germanic tribes, and there's some other things going on there. And then there's also Phocas. Phocas is going to kill Maurice and his 6 sons. So I want to do this actually all in order, which means that, well, let's do it in different order. Let's not do it in chronological order. One happened in the 400s, one happened 500s, one happened in the 600s. So I'm actually going to do them differently with the ones that I think is most popular. I'm going to talk about Clovis I because that's the founder of France. And we don't know much about Clovis I, but we know enough. And then Phocas is going to kill Maurice and his 6 sons. And he killed his 6 sons right in front of him. So that's some fucking gangster shit right there. So they hated this Emperor Maurice, 602 AD, November 27th. So they chopped off not only his head, but his 6 sons' heads, and then sent his 4 daughters to a monastery, and then eventually they're going to get killed too. So all 10 of Maurice's children, all 10 children of Emperor Maurice is going to get fucking wiped the fuck out. And again, he is the one that would make the troops winter in foreign places. He also would kept on advancing non-stop. Just kept advancing like a dumb fuck, right? Just kept on pushing people. Just advance, advance, advance. So, offensive, who gives a shit? Well, the troops mutinied, and then they named Phocas their leader, and then Phocas demanded that General Germanus and Theodosius be risen to emperor. So people thought that Germanus and Theodosius were part of the plot. Eventually, Phocas is just going to take Constantinople himself and crown himself emperor. So I'm going to get to him, but let's talk about the king of France, okay? So Clovis I, the first king of the Franks. This is important because it almost looks like, to me, it's just a bunch of goddamn Germanic fucking tribes. They're the barbarians. So the Roman Empire, they started out, in somewhere, the Middle East somewhere, and then eventually, I don't know, Western fucking civilization. So then eventually they're in Rome and Italy. So where are they at? Why are they not in France? How come they can't take France over? So that's one of the reasons for the downfall of the Roman Empire, was these battles against the Germanic tribes, these damn Germans. And so when people talk about how great France is, well, France is a Germanic tribe. So are Anglo-Saxons. The English are Anglo-Saxons, so they're Germanic. And then the Germans are Germanic. And in fact, there's a word in Creole that calls the Germans the Allemands. So the Allemande is a tribe. The Franks are a tribe too. So the Franks become France. The king of the Franks. Clovis I is the first king of the Franks. He consolidates all of the Franks under his leadership. And then he consolidates France under his leadership. He is known as the founder of France because of him consolidating all of France. So there was, bunch of chieftains, and then there was a kingship, so he just killed even his family. Clovis I didn't mind killing his own family, other Germanic tribes, in order to gain the power. He attacked a lot of different Germanic tribes, the Burgundies, the Alemannes, the Trustians, or some shit. So he was the leader of the Salian Franks. When Clovis I conquered all the Franks, he was the leader of the Salian Franks. And the Salian Franks had permission from the Romans to settle in Gaul and France. And then the Franks, France, would actually be a good ally with the Romans. They would trade and they were peaceful with one another. But this is the downfall of the Roman Empire. The Roman Empire could not conquer France. Why? Because the damn Franks, those damn Germans, Clovis I. So Clovis I, he's the king of the Salian Franks from 481 to 509, and he's only the king of France for 2 years, and then he dies. But right before he died, he turned himself into a Christian, which Gregory of Tours says makes him another Constantinople, or another Constantine. So Clovis I is the new Constantine, according to Gregory of Tours, and some fucking bishop, right? So he adopted Christianity, and then France was Christian for many years afterwards. A crazy thing that people say about Clovis is that somehow Clovis, when you anglicize it, it sounds like Louis. So Clovis, Louis, all the Louis are supposed to be named after Clovis. I don't see it. Clovis the First. How the fuck do you get Louis out of Clovis the First? And every biography of this guy said that the name Louis came from Clovis. So they just repeat this shit. Well, if you just take this word and you change it that word, and then you change it to this word, Clovis basically is Louis. No, Louis and Clovis, maybe the V looks like a U, so it looks like there's, C. Louis, but it's Clovis with the C. What the fuck? You're ignoring the C and the V? Whatever. So he was baptized with the Catholic Church, and so he made France the Catholic nation. He consolidated France. He consolidated France under the Franks, all the Franks in the one leadership, the Salian Franks. So the Salian Franks were the Prussians of the French. So the French are a bunch of Germans. The French are a bunch of fucking Germans, just like the English. The English are a bunch of fucking Germans. Everybody's a bunch of Germans. I think actually there's probably more Germanic culture coming from Europe than Roman culture. So the Battle of Soissons happens 486. Clovis, he's a Gallo-Roman emperor. Gallo. He defeats Syagrius, the son of Aegidius, and that's the end of the Western Roman rule outside of Italy. So he basically stops France from being conquered by the Romans. He conquered Syagrius. Syagrius got fucking killed by Clovis. So Clovis runs the French, the Franks, the French settlement, whereas Syagrius doesn't control shit. He's also known as the founder of the Merovingian, how stupid, the Clovian dynasty. There's some dynasty where his granddad was named Merovingian, and so this goes on for 200 years. So Clovis's tenure controlling all of France, his kingship, his family, his boys, his lineage controls France for 200 years after he's dead. He dies 511. That's November 27th. Some people say November 23rd. Some people say 513. But 511, November 27th, is when Clovis the First is going to die, and then 200 years after that is all going to be underneath him. So yeah, I believe that France comes from the Franks, and everybody called them the Franks. Even the Muslims called France Frangistan, because it's the Franks. The Franks were Germanic tribes, and that's who controlled France. The founder of France was a Frank. The founder of France was a German. Just like the founders of England were Germans too. So in fact, a lot of people say that Franks designated Europeans. People called the Europeans Franks. All them damn Franks. And Turks, the Turkish people are Germans too. Frank it meant fickle and ferocious. Eventually they said it lost their ethnic connotation, which I think is bullshit. There's still ethnic connotation today. And yeah, I guess that's it about Clovis. So fucking Clovis, huh? Goddamn motherfucking Clovis. Founder of France, the Liber Pontificalis says that Clovis I died in 513. So when was it? We don't even know when this motherfucker actually died. So the founder of France, when did he die? Lots of holes in the historical record. He was an ally of the Byzantine Empire. He did attack the Huns, the Visigoths, the Ostrogoths. Rome was sacked by a 3-day siege by a Goth Alaric King Alaric in 410 AD, 476 AD, the Emperor Romulus Augustulus is going to be overthrown, and then that's the fall of the Western Rome. Clovis conquers France, and that puts a cap on it right there. So Rome was already going down by the time Clovis came up, but Clovis was kind of the nail in the coffin. I mean, when you don't even have a whole country, right? You could try to conquer all of Europe, but when a whole France is carved out of Europe and they're like, nope, we're our own country, what are you going to do then? Unfortunately, the do-nothing sons is going to be after... Wait a second. Yeah, Clovis. He had 4 sons that he puts in charge. They're known as do-nothing sons, and then he divided the kingdom, and the kingdom kept on getting divided, and then eventually that's going to be a reason for why the kingdom fails in 200 years, they say. 491 CE, cities of Paris and Rouen and Reims. He conquers all these cities, so he makes Paris the capital. Clovis I is the first to have Paris to be the capital. He killed other Frankish kings, Chararak and Ragnachar, Visigoths. He killed Visigoths, Ostrogoths. He killed Burgundians. He killed Frankish kings, the Chararak and Ragnachar. So Chararak and Ragnachar were conquered. He's killing his own people. He's killing the Franks. He's killing his own family. He's just consolidating motherfucker, right? He had hard control, hard power over the entire, French country. The Burgundians, Alemanni, Visigoths, 506 AD. The Alamans, Tolbek, Zupik. So he was just basically killing people from left and right. He was known as the long-haired king. They're the ancestors of the Trojans. They're known as ferocious. Frank is ferocious. When he was 15 years old, that's when Clovis becomes a warrior under his father. And then Childeric dies, that's his father, 481 AD. He's born 465 AD in Belgium, Tournai, Hainaut. And, so Childeric was the king of the Salian Franks, so he inherited the power of the Salian Franks. But then he goes on and captures Syagrius, the last Roman governor over Gaul, and beheads Syagrius. Eventually beheads Syagrius, chops off his fucking head at the Battle of Soissons. Sweetenly, first of all, 485 AD, the Battle of Soissons, is when Syagrius is killed and eventually beheaded, and then that's when Clovis, a fucking German, got his own goddamn country. So, focus, huh? We're going to focus? Let me see. No. We'll come back to focus. I'll do focus, and the other one, another one. Okay.